William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
All right, we're rolling. Tell me everything I need to know about these comfort women.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, my name is Sinmin Park. I'm just an average person, ordinary person, but I learned about this issue about comfort women about several decades ago when I was a college student. But back then, this issue was not very well known. But actually, it was only in 1991, Kim Hak-sun, Korean brave woman, came out for the first time, and she revealed to the world this really did happen. And so basically, you might have heard the term comfort woman or not, but comfort women, there was absolutely nothing comforting about this. They were sex slaves for the Japanese military soldiers during World War II. And I would like to share with you about this for this map. This is a map of comfort stations. So comfort stations were basically a military brothel. They were forced to serve as sex slaves. And they estimate about over 200,000 girls from all over Asia were coerced, lied to, kidnapped, just like sex trafficking happening right now, right here in Dallas, Texas, all over the world. So if you look at this map, all these red dots represents comfort stations. So this is Korea. Here, sorry. This is Korea. This is Japan. This is China. All over. It happened all over. And I want to say that the investigative journalists claim that there were American nurses who were prisoners of war during that time. They were forced to become comfort women too. So this issue did not just happen in Asia. It did not just affect Asian women. There were Dutch females who also were comfort women too. But right now in Korea, there are only 31 survivors. And the average age is in their 90s. But they're still fighting for their dignity and for their justice because the perpetrator, Japan, they still refuse that this actually happened, and they claim these girls who are 15, 16, 17 years old, they were sex slaves and they were willing participants, which is completely outrageous. So that is not true. And actually in Dallas, we had comfort woman named Lee Ok-sun. She came and she spoke at SMU, and she spoke throughout. And these women who are in their 90s, they're still protesting, and they're still traveling when they can to share the truth, and they're fighting for their dignity and for their justice, which is what they demand is they want an official apology from the Japanese government. But sadly, right now, Japan still refuses. And another thing is that the comfort woman memorial statues that are being erected throughout the world and several places in U.S. Japan demand those statues and memorials to be removed. Can you imagine Germany requesting Holocaust victims to remove all the statues and memorials honoring the victims of Holocaust? Japan, they're demanding these statues and memorials to be removed. And this statue was erected in Korea for the first time. And actually in Korea, every Wednesday they have protests at the front of the Japanese embassy, protesting, demanding Japan to acknowledge and apologize. But for me, so anyway, I learned about this issue several decades ago. I didn't do anything about it, but I realized life is short. And every time I learned about these women passing away, my heart, I just felt such a guilt. And as a human being, they could have been my mother. They could have been my grandmother. They could have been my sister, teacher, coworker, my daughter. If they had to experience servicing military soldiers, 20 to 100 men a day in extreme cases. Can you imagine something like this happening to your loved ones? But they could have been anybody that we loved. And so I realized as a human being, I just could not keep silent any longer. And especially with all these women passing, I just felt like I had to let this fact known. And I want to share, and I want to bring awareness. And I do that by coming and sharing about this truth. And also I screened this movie called Spirit Homecoming. for free. Actually, this movie was released in 2016, and we screened. Actually, we had a screening, several screenings here in Dallas, for free. And the director, he made this film. It took him 14 years to make, and purely he wants to screen this film. He hopes to screen this film 200,000 times because he hopes that every time he screens this film, maybe he's helping one spirit come home through this film. And this movie it took 14 years to make, with over, let me make sure, 75,270 individuals. They donated money, $5, $10, $20 to make this film, and it took 14 years to make this film. And he was here last year and he screened it. But this movie was inspired when he visited in Korea a place called House of Sharing. It's a shelter where the survivors live. And when he happened to go and visit there as a volunteer, he happened to see a painting called Burning Virgins. If you want to do a close-up on this artwork. Okay. It's called Burning Virgins. Basically, they had like painting sessions as a art therapy for victims, and she drew this painting depicting what she experienced. And basically what it was Japanese soldiers, they dumped young girls when they were too weak to serve as sex slaves. They just dumped them in a ditch and burnt them alive. And when the director Cho Jung-lee saw this painting, he was so shocked that as a Korean, he did not know about this issue. So he was so moved and shocked that he decided to make film. And that became The Spirit's Homecoming. And this movie took 14 years to make. And so I would like to screen, so if there's anybody out there, any organizations, any group, congregation might be interested in watching this film, I am there. I can bring the movie and just screen it. All I need is a projector and a place and people, and we can watch this film. And then you would understand, because this movie makes you understand what happened. And this movie is not a documentary, but it's a story made based on a true story of a lady, Kang Il-chul, who drew that painting called Burning Virgin. And the sequel came out. It's called Spirit's Homecoming: Unfinished Story. And this movie, this is a sequel, and basically it actually has more of a documentary segment of actual survivors speaking and sharing their stories, but it kind of also covers the part that it didn't cover in the original film. So I would like to screen this film as many times, 200 times, hopefully all over. Actually, this movie won the Best New Directors Award in Korea. And one of the actors also won the Best New Rising Actress Award in Korea when this came out. So I would like to, just anybody out there, please learn about Comfort Women. And if you can, support them, because they don't have a whole lot of time. And actually, when Eoksun survivor came and she spoke at SMU, and she also happened to go to Capel High School, and she spoke. And she apologized to students for taking up their study time. But she said, this was so powerful to me. She said that the reason why she experienced all those and why she's still traveling at her age is because, sadly, her country was not strong enough to protect them, and was not strong enough to gain an official rightful apology. So she's traveling around and she's asking the people, like global citizens, to learn about this, the part of history that Japan refuses to teach. And hopefully we can gain support globally. And maybe, I am hoping, maybe Texas, maybe Dallas could be the place where we can really change the shift and make Japan apologize. And maybe this is the place where we can be the tipping point where Japan be embarrassed and apologize for their atrocities they committed and not get away with it. Because we need to make sure sexual violence are never okay, not in the past, not in the present, and not in the future. And we need to make sure the perpetrator gets perpetrators they need to admit and they get what they deserve. And again, I want to really emphasize this is not about anti-Japanese sentiment. I'm not trying to create any type of, hating one people like Japan or Japanese people. No, this is about human rights, women's rights, and as a human being, as a decency, they don't have a whole lot of time. This part of history is not well known. Japan, they're not teaching it, so we need to make sure that people know about this part of history, and we help this victim before they all pass away. We want to make sure that they, achieve. Only thing they want right now is an official apology. Thank you.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.